man. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Matchmaker. So I told y'all that I was coming back on this live, right, for the sake of talking to you guys about reclassing, right? What is reclassing? Reclassing is holding yourself back. Okay, I'm going live. So reclassing is basically holding yourself back at the same level for a competitive edge. Now, what do I mean by reclassing? Why am I talking about reclassing? The reason I'm talking about reclassing is because a lot of people are not knowledgeable and don't know why they should reclass. And some going to do it for the sake of others, right? So what's important about reclassing? So what matter of fact, what is it? Reclassing is basically holding yourself back to to create an competitive advantage over other players, and it also create opportunities for the player to develop not only physically but emotionally for the game of the football, right? So we already know when we get older, a lot of times we say things like, if I knew this while I was younger, I would have made better decisions. That's basically what reclassing is. It allows you to become more mature in a moment to make better decisions and choices and play better, right? So, what are some of the things that people need to understand when it comes to reclassing? I think people first need to understand that reclassing can actually affect you in certain ways. If you don't know the eligibility, you can either lose eligibility for a year when it comes to high school or college. So, first of all, knowing when to reclass, when is the proper way to actually reclass? And to be honest, I think my personal opinion, the best time to reclass is when you're in 8th grade. That's the best time because, first of all, you can still possibly play on a team that's in youth football, right? I think Battle, they're doing, if you're in the 8th grade, you could play in this 14U and 13U, maybe combined, right? You could still play, you're still eligible for that. But if you go to high school, you're not going to be eligible. If you decide that you're going to reclass, right, you're not going to basically be able to do it without having to take like a year off, right? So it doesn't make any sense for somebody to try to reclass for the simple fact that um for the simple fact that they're not going to be able to play all 4 years. Sometimes you got to sit out, right? And so what I'll say is this: the ones that are planning on it, some of the things that you need to make sure that you're looking at, right? You need to make sure that you're looking at the rules and guidelines, because it's not as simple as, oh, I just want to reclass for the year without actually going through the proper channels to make sure that you guys are good to be able to play. Now they got some players that are planning on reclassing, or they got some players that are reclassing, but they had to go through the proper channels in order to do so. But I'm gonna say this, man: everybody don't have to do it. Everybody shouldn't do it. Everybody is not in a position to where they have to do the reclass. They don't have to do it. Some people just want to do it, but then so many people are going to do it to the point where it ain't gonna even matter, right? And the reason why I say that is because, let's say you as a player begin to reclass, and then what if other players decide that they're going to reclass? Basically, all you're doing is losing a year, right? You're going to lose that 1 year, and then when you go to college, most likely you're going to redshirt, right? And then you're going to lose another year. So reclassification is good for things like if you got an injury, right? And then you need all 4 years and you need that 1 year to sit out, right? That's a good time to actually reclass, right? The other time is if you feel like you're not as competitive with the other players, then you will be versus the players that are a grade below you. That's another time to actually reclass. Some of these players, they are basically going for overkill. They are better than their competition, but they still decide that they want to reclass for the simple fact that, just to do it. And I think that a lot of times we don't look at the pros and cons of reclassifying. And the reason why I say that is when you go to school, right, for so long, a lot of times you get burnt out on school. So we risk in academics, we risk in being burnt out, we risk in possibly quitting, right? A lot of people only tell you about the pros of everything. They don't tell you about the cons. You know what I'm saying? Just think if you go to a college, right, and you reclassify in the eighth grade or something like that, then you go to college, right? Remember, you already lost a year, so you're older than everybody. Then you go to college, you have to red shirt. Let's say you're not good enough to start. Then you have to red shirt, right? So now once you red shirt, what happens is you lose a year. So that's 2 years that you pretty much lost. And in going to the NFL, right? What are one of the main things that they look at? They look at age, right? They look at the age and basically they determine how many years that they can get out of this particular player. If you're an older player, guess what? Most likely they're going to pick and select somebody that is younger than you, that they can get more years out of, and and it be more beneficial for them. That's why sometimes, man, reclassify can actually hurt you, because if you already 2 years older, then sometimes they won't even draft you just for that sake alone. So understanding when to reclass, understanding when you should just go with the flow. If you're good enough, you ride with the punches and do what you're supposed to do to get to college, because sometimes, man, when you reclassify, losing that time is going to hurt you in the long run. And it has its benefits, because like I said, when you hold yourself back, you become better than the competition. But then I think in the future, too many people are going to hold themselves back. And so it's not going to even matter, because basically you're going to be reclassing and end up playing with the same players. So it's not going to even matter when you do that. So understanding what it is that you have to do, right, in a process of reclassifying is very important, because like I said, you can put yourself in a position of not even being eligible. You know what I'm saying? And not even being able to play, and then having to go to the athletic first academy, right? Where you lost a year, but you can go to this athletic academy to where they allow you to you know uh hold off a year and still be eligible the year after you hold off, what I'm saying, for college. So there are ways, but I think that sometimes, man, it's not going to be as easy as people believe. So understanding policy, understanding state rules, understanding NCAA rules are all of the things that you definitely need to make sure that you're paying attention to when it comes to reclassifying. Because if you are a person that don't go through the proper channels, it can only affect you, right? And then you begin to cry wolf and all that stuff. But I didn't want to be long, but I just wanted y'all to know, man, if for those who are thinking about reclassifying, you should only do it if you got injured, if you felt like you wasn't truly ready with the class that you're in, right? Or if you feel like that will be the best move that will help you go to the league, the NFL, or wherever it is that you want to go. But for everybody, it's not even worth it. If you're a good player, man, definitely stay with your class and do what you're supposed to do so you can hurry up, because some people get burnt out at school, and you don't want to be one of them people. So, man, definitely keep that in mind, man, when it comes to reclassifying. That's all I got for now, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. I just want to, share that information. I'm out.